Today we are looking at a drama based on real events. Student service. Welcome to Flashback Recap. Hit subscribe and let's dive right in. Laura is an 18-year-old freshman who dreams of becoming an interpreter or a counselor. During a lecture, she feels a severe pain in her stomach and tries to leave the lecture hall. After a few steps, she loses consciousness. Her teachers are concerned about her condition and remind her that her family has a duty to support her. Laura's father is a bricklayer, and her mother is a nurse and has no money to support her. Understanding this, the girl works in a call center, but her salary is not enough to eat, and sometimes she faints from hunger. When Laura returns home, her live-in boyfriend demands rent from her. Laura makes love to him to distract him from his problems at home, but a power cut ruins their love. When the boyfriend finds out that Laura hasn't paid the electricity bill, he loses interest in her and goes to sleep. Meanwhile, she has no money to pay bills, buy clothes, or entertain herself, so she decides to look for another job. She sees dozens of interesting job postings online, but they all require work experience and relevant education. Laura decides to look at the adult job ads and finds an interesting note left by a 50-year-old man named John. He offers €100 per hour to hire a young student. He promises to be nice and sends her a photo to prove his sincerity. Laura promises herself that she will be John's only client, as she is not an easy woman and cannot make a living this way. They decide to meet in a cheap hotel near the station, where Laura takes a shower and buys a protector. During the meeting, Johnny said nothing. He just handed her an envelope with a letter inside. It was an instruction she had to follow. Laura undresses, takes a shower, and caresses herself to relax the old man. He also tries to play with her soft body, but she realizes that she is too innocent for such an encounter and is afraid of any contact or kiss. Joe decides to talk to the young student and get to know her better. Finally, the 3-hour encounter ends, and the man who works as a school teacher keeps his promise and pays her €300. This easy money liberates Laura, and she smiles, saying that she can now eat well and pay her debts. But as she continues to work in the call center, she realizes that her salary is too little. While answering another call, she again looks for an adult advertisement and agrees to meet a man for €70 an hour. She meets another client in a cafe where she shares her experiences and sets the terms of the meeting. Not hungry, and suggests they move from words to action. Laura undresses first and gives the stranger a sweet kiss. Laura returns home and tells her boyfriend that she gave herself for money to the first man she met, but he doesn't believe her and takes it as a joke. Annoyed by his indifference, Laura decides to leave him and rents another apartment. She prepares for a class at the bar, but the men hungry to interact with young women won't leave her alone. A man sitting nearby notices this and protects Laura from the men pretending to be her boyfriend. After a short conversation, Benjamin takes her home and kisses her goodbye. Laura participates in an erotic photo shoot to earn money. The photographer is invited by one of his clients to have fun with her, but Laura refuses because she is not that kind of woman. At night, she searches the internet for other young students in financial difficulties. Laura meets Lou and learns that it is normal to sleep for money. The next morning, she goes to the university where she observes other poor students and notices the luxury items and gold trinkets they have obviously earned in the same way. Laura's next client is a moderately wealthy man who lives alone in a large house. He likes to see sexy maids in short dresses and offers her a separate room if she will spend one night a week with him. Laura promises to think about it and rushes back to university as exams approach. Her first semester goes well and she passes all her exams with top marks. Back home, she examines an envelope from a client and realizes she needs more money. Laura wants a laptop and writes to Joe to meet in exchange for an expensive gift. The 50-year-old man agrees to her terms, but must also obey her. In the hotel room, Joe asks Laura to undress, ties her up, and with the help of a big rubber friend, satisfies the young student. The experience is so disturbing for her that she tears the tape, hastily packs her things, and leaves the hotel with her money and a laptop. Her birthday was clearly ruined, but an unexpected knock on the door changes everything. Benjamin enters and wishes her a happy birthday and gives her flowers. The couple is alone in the bedroom and he hints at intimacy, but Laura rejects his advances as if frightened. Benjamin realizes that this is due to a bad experience, and the student tells him about the money he has earned from rich old men who are ready to give everything to spend an hour in the arms of a young woman. This does not scare Benjamin at all, because he is in love with Laura and wants to be by her side. After another meeting with a client, she receives 20 euros instead of the promised 200. Benjamin realizes that his girlfriend is being cheated on and offers to help her. He advises her to accept the money in cash to reduce the chances of being cheated. True to her new plan, Laura continues to satisfy old people, and when she returns home, she spends time with Benjamin. She experiences pleasure only with him, not through work, but through mutual desire and passion. Sometime later, while the couple are having dinner in a restaurant, Laura receives a call from a customer who wants to see her. She ignores the older gentleman because she wants to be with her man. However, the man does not calm down and keeps calling. At some point, Benjamin loses patience and makes a stern phone call to Laura's client. The girl realizes that her work makes her boyfriend uncomfortable and confesses that she finds everything disgusting. Benjamin accepts Laura's job, but now sees every euro as a body part that he must give to an old man. A few days later, Laura meets Joe and spends a few hours with the old man. Benjamin meets her outside the hotel and once again expresses his dissatisfaction with his job. The young student finds a way to compromise, pushes him into the doorway, and kneels in front of him. Laura is unable to think or act consciously. The man thinks she is only suitable for an intimate relationship, and after an argument, the couple breaks up. Feeling humiliated and abused, Laura goes to the photographer and demands that all her pictures be removed. The old photographer refuses on the grounds that he does not like unattractive pictures of an unattractive girl. However, he is willing to compromise if Laura is satisfied. Fortunately, the girl defeats the photographer and escapes humiliation. When Laura learns that the whole town sees her as an easy and cheap woman, she returns home and calls Joe to tell him what happened. Joe asks to see her and promises her 1,000 euros for 5 hours. They meet again in a hotel room and Joe writes her a letter saying that this is just the beginning of their meetings. He wants to spend time at a nearby club and she needs to dress sexier. Laura and Joe go to an adult club where men masturbate to inappropriate videos. After a few minutes, the couple is pulled into a private room, but it turns out to be a trap because she is ambushed by naked old men waiting to take hard advantage of the young student. 5 hours later, the couple returns to their room and Laura goes to take a shower, leaving behind an envelope with only 100 euros instead of 1,000. She panics but finds a letter. In it, Joe writes that he wants Laura to meet him one more time before she moves to another city to start a new life. A few days later, she calls Joe and leaves a message demanding payment of the debt. Otherwise, she threatens to tell his wife and children everything. A few hours later, Joe calls back and confesses that he has cancer, that he couldn't transfer the money because his wife suspected something and froze his account. Laura arrives in Paris and tries to find a job so she can live comfortably in the French capital. Joe calls her and offers to meet her one last time and spend time with her. He is ready to pay any amount of money and says he will up the ante and give her 4,000 euros in a few hours. Laura yells at Joe not to call her again. A passerby notices her distress and offers her a job as a waitress in a restaurant. At the end of the school year, Laura passes all her exams with good grades. She calls Joe and tells him about her success. A few days later, she rents an apartment and starts a new life. A few years later, Laura gives an anonymous interview in which she talks about a student, writes a book about it, and makes no secret that it is based on her own life.